In 1966, Christmas time, I was 6 years old. Don't do the math. I know some of you, stop it. In 1966, Christmas, I remember it like it was yesterday. I went to my little friend's house with my family, and for whatever reason, the pastor of the church, an Assembly of God in Fremont, Michigan. Now don't faint. We weren't Church of God for a year. I'm teasing. We went to my friend's house who was a pastor's son, and I had been asking my parents for a watch for Christmas, and they didn't get me one. There was a watch, brand new watch. Timmy was bragging about his watch he got for Christmas, and I was 6, and I felt like I deserved that watch. And Timmy went into the bathroom just before our family was leaving after that Christmas afternoon, celebrating with their family that late in the afternoon. I took that watch, slipped it in my pants pocket, and I walked out. I got home and thought, you know what? My parents will, if they find this out, I'm going to get a whooping. Now, for you that don't know what a whooping is, you need to ask somebody later. So I pulled open a drawer, what we called an underwear drawer, a t-shirt drawer. And I shoved that watch underneath those t-shirts. And I thought, they'll forget later. Just as sure as I'm sitting here, the family called. Timmy was missing his watch. Called that evening and said, Timmy can't find his watch. He remembers setting it on the table. So my mother comes to me and said, hey, I just got a call from the pastor and his wife, and his watch is missing. Do you have any idea where it was? I have no idea. I lied. No, I don't know. I have no idea. A few months went by, and my parents were, unbeknown to me, realizing I had a problem. I'd bring things home from school. It started with a pencil that wasn't mine. It had graduated to things like a dime. Back then, a dime was worth more than it is today, a dime. If I saw somebody's dime laying on I remember one time the teacher's desk. It moved up from there to little girls that wore a necklace or a ring, and probably got out a bubblegum machine, and I'd stick it in my pocket and take it home and say, "Here, Mom," as if I'm giving her a gift. Where'd you get that? I found it. The pattern began to be recognized in my parents' minds that Cal has a stealing problem. It went on for a while. They couldn't catch me, couldn't nail it. And so I was suspect during this whole watch thing. It had continued to grow into little bigger things. Matchbox cars. Now, Matchbox cars, I wish I had some of those Matchbox cars today because they're worth a lot. If you don't know what Matchbox cars is, you're going to have to ask your parents. So things were escalating. I take the watch. And about March or April, I don't know what month, my mother did spring cleaning, and she would get into the drawers. She was very nosy, and she'd get into the drawers, and things that were too small for me or anybody else in the family, she would discard those or take them and give them away and make sure that the sizes fit. And she did that, during spring, this was every year. She did it till the day she died. Well, what does she find when she lifts those t-shirts? 3 or 4 months after I had said no, she finds this watch. She did not tell my father. She did not tell me when I come home from school. She had somehow contacted my dad, and we had family devotions at dinner time, and I knew something was wrong because it was family devotion time. Instead of having family devotions at the table before we ate, I heard my father put out this message. Everybody, we're going to meet in the living room. My grandmother lived with us, so we all had to go to the living room, and we're going to have a conversation before we eat. And I remember thinking, boy, something not good here. No idea. My dad reaches into his pocket and pulls out that watch. Now, I will tell you, I about fainted. Whew. Cal, do you know where this come from? I went into silence. I couldn't blame anyone else. I knew where it was found. And he said, before we eat, we're going to go right now and we're going to talk to Timmy. We're going to apologize to Timmy. And we are going to apologize to Pastor and his wife. Because do you understand that you are a thief? And I will not have a thief or a liar in this house. I knew I'm going to die. He takes me to the car and drives about 10 miles, and we go into the pastor's house. And I didn't want to go in. And I was determined I'm not going to go in. Well, my dad was a big guy in those days, and he grabbed me come around to the door, grabbed me by the back of the neck, and walked me in front of him. And I'm pushing and fighting and kicking, and he was strong enough to handle all of that. And next thing I know, I'm standing in front of the pastor's house door. Who should come but the pastor's wife? And he begins to tell her that Cal has something to share with you. Well, you know, like any kid, I couldn't hardly get it out. I stole Timmy's watch. She's trying to leave me a back door as if it's okay, you know, we're glad we got it back. And he said, oh, no, it's not okay. There's nothing okay about this. Nothing okay about this. I love you, my pastor's wife, but it's not okay. I thought when I get home, I'm going to die. I did. I honestly thought that. My dad spanked me probably 5-6 times in my whole life, but dear God, when he did. Whew. So I've got this fear. I remember the drive home thinking, I'm in trouble. This isn't over. Just by the things he said to the pastor's wife. We pull in the driveway. He says, I want you to go upstairs to your bedroom. I will meet you there. I thought, oh, Jesus. I'm serious. I was scared to death. I go on up. It seemed like an eternity. Him and my mother had some consultation. I could hear them in the distance, could not hear what they were talking about, but I could hear them. And the next thing you know, the door opens. And my dad yanks off his belt right in front of me, pulls that belt off. And then he began to do something very strange. He unbuttoned his shirt, laid it on the bed, took his t-shirt, ripped it off, and laid it on the bed. He says, take this belt. He got down on all fours. He says, you're going to beat me. You're going to beat me. Your mother and father have failed somewhere along the way. Somewhere along the way we failed. Because you're a thief. Look me dead in the eyes. You're stealing things, Cal. And we can't have that. But you know what? We're responsible too. Somewhere along the way, I haven't taught you, I haven't modeled you, I haven't made it a big enough issue. I don't know what it is. But somewhere your daddies went wrong. Now you're going to beat me. And I remember thinking, no, I'm not. So I held the belt, and oh man, he started saying, you whip me. And I remember laying that belt on his back kind of easy, and he wasn't having any of it. He rose up and looked me dead in the eyes, and he says, you beat me. He made me beat him. And when I say beat him, I'm talking hit him as hard as I possibly could on his back. I remember crying, and my mother might have been out of order. She came in and said, Earl, that's enough. That's enough. Because I was weeping. Dad, I don't want to beat you. It's not your fault. I just want to drop this in here. If you hear of me stealing something, or somebody accuses me of taking church finances or doing something out of the ordinary with money, I want to tell you straight up, it's a lie from the pits of hell. I have never touched one thing since that day. It absolutely broke thievery in my life. Now, you may not like what he did, because frankly, I question that myself. Like John Hagee said about another sin, you may hear me doing some other things and it may be true. But if you hear that I'm stealing something, you better know it's a lie. Because over my dead body, it rages in me. In fact, to this day, when somebody is a thief, I can't tell you what it does to me. To take advantage of somebody else. To steal as if you deserve it. I can't tell you what it does to me. And I know it goes back to that moment. What has developed in my life as I've gotten older and reflected on this, and I told the story one time, as I said, that my father took responsibility, much like my Jesus took responsibility for things he didn't do. If you're wanting to break something that you know is wrong in your life, your kids' lives, your friends' lives, somehow people around you, maybe you consider, have I in any way, by ignoring or enhancing, have I in any way played any part in this? Let me tell you, love wins when we take responsibility. Whether we're guilty or sometimes have rationalized the fact that we're not guilty. I see it in Nehemiah when he takes responsibility for his forefathers, the sins of the forefathers. He repents for the sins of things that he didn't do. Do you understand, in your family and in the church, we are a corporate community, and that it hurts when someone goes off the rail? That we together, the Bible says, we win together, we rejoice together. 1 Corinthians says, rejoice together, but we suffer together. When one fails, we feel that failure. Is there something more we could have done? Is there something we could have said? And some of you are sitting here, I'm not taking that responsibility, and you'd rather play the blame game. I'm glad Jesus didn't do that. Jesus took a beating and died on a cross when he did nothing wrong. He took your sin and your failures. He took the rotten, dirty thoughts and things that you've done in your life, things that you think no one knows about. Jesus took that on. And he was nailed to the cross for you and I. So don't think you can't take responsibility and act like it's not your fault. It's a powerful thing when we say, I hate that happened. Doesn't mean we grovel and walk around carrying. Some people don't like this kind of message. But you've got some explaining to do as to why Jesus did it. And I don't know, I just have an experience that says, my dad taking some responsibility and he did nothing. I know my daddy did nothing. But the process broke something in my life that to this day, if I see a dime on the ground, I have a problem picking the thing up. My boys have heard this story. Humanity has a way of justifying things, rationalizing things. Let me tell you, sometimes we can't trust ourselves. You reason it away. You deserve it. That person has a lot. I don't get it. I don't have the breaks they have. And we rationalize it away. And when it comes right down to it, your words are simply a Band-Aid for sin. And Jesus Christ has taken that on his back and allowed himself to be nailed to the cross for your weak, frail humanity that is rooted in sin. And the only thing that can radically change that is to accept the message of Jesus Christ and the blood that he shed on a cross when he was innocent. He shed that blood that you and I might be set free. Can we give him big praise for that right now? You know what my dad did? Some of you parents need to hear this. He not only took responsibility, but he transferred responsibility. Because you know what he told me when I beat him? I beat him. As hard as a 6-year-old could swing a belt. He made me. This is tough, but I remember him looking at me and he said, if you don't beat me, I'm going to beat you. After I finished, I remember him putting his t-shirt back on. And he said, if you ever do this again, if you ever steal again, and this is rough, some of you may not like it. He was a public school teacher. He said, your daddy may just beat you to an inch of your life. Today was grace. Tomorrow there will be consequences. That's what Jesus has done. He's offered you grace. Here, I'll take the beating. I'll take the suffering. I'll take the blame. I'll make a way for you. But if you continue, there'll be consequences. Nobody wants to talk about the consequences. We love the grace part. As we were singing, for all what he's done for me, it was tearing me up standing over here because I knew the thoughts I wanted to share. Do you realize what he's done for you? But don't you blame him or anybody else. If you and I get stupid with sin, and there's consequences, knock off the blame game. Stop the blame game. It's not going anywhere with him. He took a beating unlike mankind has ever known. I don't even want to, some of us don't even want to take our kids to watch the Passion movie because it's not rated right and the suffering is beyond our comprehension. Well, I think you could probably magnify even the Passion. Here's what it boils down to. If we're going to break things in our life, or if we're going to break things in somebody else's life as we prepare to come to the table, take responsibility and transfer responsibility. Take responsibility. Perhaps I have a part to play in this without realizing it. Perhaps I justified it. Perhaps I wasn't honest enough with you. Perhaps I wasn't straight up enough with you. Perhaps I haven't handled it right. I've had to tell my kids that. Perhaps I've missed the mark. I'm willing to take responsibility. But after I take responsibility, and I share in that responsibility, I can't keep you from the consequences. There are consequences. And people live in this tension with grace. Oh, grace, grace, grace. There's grace. Yeah, there's grace all the way. But consequences are what we bring in on ourselves. Take responsibility. When you come to the table, I want you to understand that that cup that represents the blood was a man named Jesus that took responsibility that's just absolutely unbelievable. When you hold that bread and it represents the body, that body was crushed and broken and beaten, he took responsibility for things that he never did, thoughts he never thought, things he never took, adultery he never committed, sexual sins and promiscuity and pornography and things that he never, ever polluted himself with. He took responsibility for you and I. And the truth is, everyone in this room is a failure. Except it be for the grace of God, the blood of the Lamb that has covered us and washed us clean and set us free and gave us a clean slate to where we can claim that we will reign with him forever and ever. And his blood continues to cover us. We're so undeserving. But don't abuse his grace. Don't stay on the path. When he said to the woman who was adulterous, we always forget the last line. We see the grace. He who has sinned, cast the first stone. We love that part. Oh, you sinned, you sinned, you sinned. Don't judge me. But then he says in this last line, it's so overlooked, repent. Stop it. You've been transformed. You've been saved by my power and through faith. But go. You don't continue in the sin. Go and sin no more. Stop the sin. Repent means turn away from the direction that you're going, because there's consequences. Can we celebrate Jesus right now in the biggest way? Let's celebrate Jesus. He's amazing.